Hi, good morning. Welcome back. This is day 3, the final day of the Celestial Kingdom Mid-Reign 60 online virtual event. This morning, we are kicking things off with Dance in War. It's a Q&A with the fighting company War Dancers. I know they've been around, but I don't think I've been in Amtgard proper long enough to know exactly how long this company has been around or how prestigious they are. And so I'm going to turn it over to the experts. This is Father Thomas and Malmoria from War Dancers talking about their company.
Hi, I think we're live now. This is Father Thomas. I go by FT. Beside me is another one of the captains of the company, Mr. Swind, who happens to be my lovely wife. And also online, we have one of our preeminent night war dancers, Malmoria. He's been a war dancer for a little bit now, and we're glad to have him. So, from what I understand, this morning's conversation, this is going to be Q&A between all of you and all of us. It's an open conversation. If you have a question, ask a question. Just ask you to mute your mics when you're not talking. But if you have anything to say or anything to ask or anything to interject, please feel free to ask that question. So, from what I understand, what the administrator, the organizer of today's meeting is, she asked us to discuss this Amtgard battle company called the War Dancers. And that's what we plan to do. We don't have a scripted agenda. It's going to be kind of ad hoc and off the cuff. I'm going to go into some history. We'll talk about some of the guidelines, some of the tenets of the War Dancers, how to become a War Dancer, how to not be a War Dancer anymore if necessary. We're going to go into some of the members that are still part of the War Dancer. We'll refer to them and we'll name drop them, and especially if they're not here, we'll say bad things about them. These War Dancers have been around a long time. I started in the War Dancers in 1993 or 94. It was still a fairly new company, about 6 months old. It started in Las Cruces, New Mexico. The leaders of the two men that started the company back then were Sir Jatara and Sir Greywalker. Greywalker's still around in Amtgard. We see him every now and then. He'll chime in a little bit. He looks a lot different now than he did then. And Sir Jatara, I don't know how active he is in Amtgard anymore, but I know that he's heavy in the SCA now. Jatara is no longer a War Dancer. He and Greywalker still is, but they were the two very first War Dancers. They were the two captains of the War Dancers back then, and the term for a War Dancer captain of the company is called High Dancer, and I'll go into a little bit more about that because there's a rank structure in the War Dancers. But I started back then in the early mid '90s. We currently have 3 captains of the War Dancers, 3 High Dancers, and those 3 High Dancers are myself, FT, Father Thomas, Dame Mr. Glenn, and I was going to call you Sharon. I'll call you Baby. And we also have Dame Wheelock, who was unable to log in this morning. She has other things going on. She lives out on the East Coast. But we have the 3 captains. And then we have many members of other different ranks. Within the War Dancers, since was structured as a historic, in an Amtgard frame of mind, battle company, an organization of people, mercenary company to support those customers, those hosts that we choose to provide our services for. So the company has got a military rank structure. The company is made up of not just fighting classes, it's made up of support people. It's really not only fighting but also arts and sciences. So we stress both the fighting and the arts and sciences aspects of a person's development. The rank structure it's pretty simple and abbreviated. When you first become a War Dancer, when you go through your petitioning process and you actually join the company fully, you come in as something called a dancer of the way. So you go from being a petitioner, and you could be a petitioner for a short amount of time, a long amount of time. It's changed throughout the years. When I first started, I wasn't even a petitioner. They just asked me to be a war dancer, and a week later I said yes, and they said, "Boom, you're a war dancer. Here's a tavern." But the very first rank is dancer of the way. After that is dust dancer, and then wave dancer, and then wind dancer, and then flame dancer, and finally high dancer. And the ranks are based on the elements for the most part. For when the war dancers were first created, the storyline role play was very elven based. There was a long, in-depth storyline with an elven goddess and everything. So there was a lot of good nerdy role playing going on back then, and hence the rank structure reflects that. Like I said, we have the 5 different ranks. When you first come in as a dancer of the way, you have no actual rank you put on your sleeve. For with each rank that you get another symbol to represent and signify that rank that you are. A dancer of the way has nothing. The actual core symbol of the war dancers, as you can see on my coffee cup and on my tabard, I think I got a little flag here, is the star with an open fist and 2 lightning bolts. In the corners above that, you can see these various symbols. Those very symbols are the representations of the rank. The very first rank that you get, you progress from Dancer of the Way. Dancer of the Way is kind of like, Buck Private, is Dust Dancer. And Dust Dancer is represented by these cubes, representing the earth, the soil, the building blocks, the foundation of the company. And after you, once you become a dust dancer, then you progress to wave dancer, as you can see. And no, we don't have love. We don't have the 5th element. And then, of course, you have wind dancer in this representation. I don't know if you really can see that. Is of the wind. And then we have flame dancer. Those are simple flames. And high dancer itself doesn't have an actual specific rank symbol, other than all 4 of them around the core symbol of the war dancers. So as you can see here on the coffee cup, we have all 4 symbols. You can barely see them surrounding the fist and star and lightning bolts. And as opposed to the Annihilus Battle Company, who only has 1 lightning bolt, we have 2. We like to remind them that.
Shots fired.
Shots fired, Theo.
So,
yeah.
I don't know if you're aware, Father Thomas, speaking of your house symbol, but Allure Dragon has been putting together a Minecraft Java server, and someone in your company has popped onto the server and has created a gigantic building with the War Dancer symbol on it. So gigantic, in fact, that when we take a map of the area, and I'm about to put that in the general chat for you guys to look at here in a moment, you'll see that the War Dancer symbol is very prominent, and you have to kind of zoom in and look carefully to find all the rest of the structures that we built in terms of the...
So as you can see, the war dancers can be seen from space.
Yes, in short.
The International Space Station knows who the war dancers are. Hey, Malmori, who built that?
That would be Lavarth, yeah.
Lavarth? Yeah, Lavarth did that. Every week on Thursday evenings, the War Dancers host, we have a Zoom get-together, so we have War Dancers from across the country all dialing into Zoom. Malmori is always on there, and Crispin, and Dame Wheelock. Scarlet's always on there. So the total numbers of active War Dancers across the country are maybe only 30.
It's hard to tell because
we've had 60, 70, 80 at one time. And back in the days of the big gathering of the clans, there in New Mexico, the big summer Amtgard Interkingdom event, and we'd have like 60, 70 War Dancers all show up. And we do our War Dancer fighting tournaments on Saturday morning, early 7 a.m., 8 a.m. It sucked. And we would have dozens of ward answers, those who chose to wake up, get out there in multiple big circles to do our rank advancement fighting tourney. And let me go into that a little bit. So to gain rank within the ward answers, there's two paths to gain rank. There's the path through fighting and the path through arts and sciences. You still only have one highest rank, and that highest rank is the rank that will take precedent over, your other ranks. So, for instance, you could have a ward answer that's a flame dancer in fighting, because really great fighter, and a wave dancer or a dust dancer in arts and sciences. But the higher rank always takes precedent. So let's say you've achieved your rank through arts and sciences, and you're a wind dancer in arts and sciences, and only a dancer of the way in A&S. You're still a wind dancer when it comes to leadership and running the company, because although you may be a great fighter and win all the tourneys, although you may be a great arts and science craftsperson and you win all the tourneys, if the high dancers don't think that you are personally ready to take on the responsibilities of increased rank, be it through fighting or through arts and sciences, it won't be awarded. And we've had to turn some people down because they out there kicking ass on the battlefield in the turn circle, but they just, they couldn't lead, a team of people to, mow a lawn. So, and we discussed these things. So the ward answers are a lot about personal growth, personal responsibility, and leading the company, be it in small groups or even large groups, on the battlefield, behind, off the battlefield. The ward answers have been known as for service throughout many years, helping run events, running events, feeding people at gathering of the clans or at spring wars or whatnot. Were you going to say something?
Yeah. On the flip side, when it comes to rank promotion, you can meet all the criteria. We might think you're a great leader. You might be kick-ass on the battlefield, kick-ass in the A&S tourney, kick-ass in service, but you personally don't want to accept any further leadership roles. You can turn promotion down and say, thanks, but I'm happy at the level I'm at, and no harm, no foul. It's very much up to the individual.
That being said, you can also gain rank even though you're not a great fighter or you're a great A&S person, but you're a phenomenal leader and organizer. And that has also happened within the company, that we have promoted people based solely on their ability to lead other people and to inspire other people. And for whatever reason, they keep getting their butts kicked in a tourney circle, or they're just, unable to, sew a straight line or tool anything, or financially can't do that. However, they're just really good at taking charge. We have promoted people based solely on merit as well. So there are ways to continue to experience growth of the word answer. Some people go up in rank really fast. Some people go up in rank not at all or very slow. And we as leaders within the company are there to help them, to inspire them, and to help them gain what they want to be, not necessarily what we expect them to be, but what they want to do in the company. And a lot of people look on the company and go up in rank and have a great time. And then that time comes that the ward answers are just not the right company for them. And they sadly choose to move on. They ask to leave the company, and there's never hard feelings. Never hard feelings if someone asks to leave the company. We've had to kick people out. And there's still no real hard feelings then. But for those people that have chosen to leave the company, we still love them. We still respect them. They still have a seat by our campfire anytime. And there are, Diego used to be a ward dancer. In fact, Diego was one of the high dancers at one time too. And then that time came that the ward dancers weren't really for him anymore, and he chose to move on. And now he's one of the torches. Skippy. There's a lot of a lot of people say, well, ward dancers is kind of like the starter company for a lot of amp garters, and I have no problems with that. If we as ward dancers can take new amp garters in, bring them into the company, teach them
We seem to have lost Father Thomas for the moment.
Yeah, but
Wait, I'm back.
Oh, there he is. He's back. Welcome. Hi.
Yeah,
Wait
yeah,
for
you
the
lost
video to-
a second there. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, but we can no longer see you.
I'm gonna turn the camera back on.
No problem. Hi. Oh, it's so good to see you. I almost didn't recognize you without all the blue armor.
Is he driving?
I think so. Well, he's in the car, but someone else is driving, right?
So that's Langston there. Yeah, he's the war dancer with the big blue armor. He's the one. He and I are out there, crushing the line. That's what he and I do. We go out there in a lot of armor with big weapons. But Mount Mori's out there too. But Mount Mori is
And it's you three in particular that, as a hydration specialist, I have to really watch and make sure that you're not going to die for real.
Yeah, and they're also known for, oh, I'm fine.
Yeah. If that happens again, we'll connect as soon as possible. So if you do lose us for whatever internet issues or bandwidth problems come up, discuss amongst yourselves. Mount Moria, if we fall off, you take over the conversation. And Langston, if both Shrine and I and Mount Moria drop off, you take the conversation. So we've been talking about rank structure. We've been talking about how to go up in rank. Via combat. We have periodic rank promotion, war dancer only tournaments. And you'll fight those members within your rank, within your dust dancer rank or your flame dancer or your wind dancer and everything, with different types of weapon styles based upon that rank that you're at the moment. And if you do best, you don't have to sweep it. And it also comes on to what the high dancers or those higher level war dancers that are running the tourney, what their opinions are. That you kicked everybody's ass and you're ready for more leadership responsibilities, then you'll probably get promoted. For arts and sciences, for going up in promotion, you have to do better each time. You have to make more each time. You have to demonstrate your ability to be a master of that particular craft, of that style, or at least be very good at it. And then you can be recognized through rank advancement. And you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, ANS has been very fluid as far as how we do it. When we both started, I primarily promoted through ANS initially, and it was you had to do X amount more, higher score, and you had to earn a Hydra at the kingdom level. So it got intense because at one point I needed to make 35 items and score 4.75 to even think about promotion. And then we realized.
But you did that to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her own fault. It's because at the lower ranks, she would submit like 20 items to go up from like dust to to wave. Well, that sucked for her next promotion because then she would have to make even more. What are the minimum amounts you have to make for a rank promotion?
That it's like 3 at this level, 5 at this level being score. But that's starting to change and morph because AmpGuard's morphing. More and more kingdoms are changing how they're doing ANS. Yeah. So we have to change. We have had ANS competitions where the high dancer will say, okay, because of your situation, get your stuff to this event and we'll take a look at what you have. We'll grade it. We'll score it. We'll have a war dancer ANS tournament and for promotion purposes. It's very fluid. And that's a good thing because as we know, AmpGuard has changed dramatically in the 25 years that I've been playing.
And it's continuing to change. And let me just bounce off of what you were commenting about. I don't know if y'all made the all thing yesterday morning at 10. There was some conversation about figuring out how to make quals more open to new officers. And one of the ideas that it got kicked back, we ended up I don't think we ended up voting on it. I don't remember now. I've slept since then. But one of the ideas was to include this concept of once you have qualified for a kingdom level office, And one of the ways you show that is by getting an Order of the Hydra at kingdom level. You are then pre-qualified for a certain amount of time. So that way, should there be two people running for an office, the intents happen and they're closed, and qualifications have happened, and then we're just waiting for votes, but one of the parties drops and we could end up with just one person, then someone who's already pre-qualified through Hydra, as you had mentioned, and then step up and give people more options for people to choose for their officers. How do you guys feel about that? Because just because you had mentioned that one of the things that you could do to promote within War Dancers is at kingdom level Hydras, this kind of feels similar vein.
Yeah, with the Hydra issue, that hurt CK War Dancers initially, because other kingdoms allowed Hydras at the park level. When I joined, CK did not.
Yeah, you can only get it at
kingdom level only. Yeah. So, which is one of the reasons why I entered a lot of items, because it was a kingdom level tournament. So they had minimum requirements at the kingdom level, which led to that snowball. As far as once you've become qualified, you're always qualified. I see both sides of the fence on that. One of the things I don't see allowing to happen is growth as an artist, because your bigger level competitions for ANS are your kingdom level competitions, whether it's Dragon Master or your qual, or your 2 quals a year. So that's 3. If you get rid of, for all intents and purposes, the vast majority of the quals, that just leaves you Dragon Master. So I see a potential for lack of growth as an artist. Some people need to enter competitions to grow. They need that reason to get better, that reason to do something a little bit better than they did the time before. And that obviously will come into play for our war dancers in promotion. In fact, we have an EH war dancer right now that because of the changes that they have made, as far as the number of categories, the number of items that they can enter, it's
Mezzi?
capped.
You're talking about Mezzi?
Yeah, it's capped. So we're working with her on how to incorporate her kingdom's idiosyncrasies to the war dancer way of doing promotion for ANS. It's gonna be a lot of more growth, that's for sure. That's not a bad thing. The pain suck, but hey, get over them.
Yeah, Marcus got something. Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of our tournaments here would have like a max entry of like 5 items. You can only enter 5, 7 items. For me, for my next rank, I'd have to do 11 entries, or
and that's going from what rank to what rank?
Going from Wind Dancer to Flame Dancer.
Yeah. So he's one of our highest ranked ANS guys. And I don't think anybody has any doubt that Malmori is going to be able to, keep getting high rank in arts and sciences. Holy shit. When I first came in, I got my rank through combat for the most part. I did ANS stuff, and I would eventually when you're and I made it to Flame Dancer in combat, and then I had to challenge the actual High Dancers to fight I had to fight all the War Dancers. I had to fight everybody, and I made High Dancer. And once you're High Dancer, then you're High Dancer for everything, for ANS and for combat. If you make High Dancer, yeah, you're just High Dancer. Granted, I've got a Serpent Belt too, but I didn't achieve my highest ranks in War Dancers through ANS. I did it through combat back when I could tourney fight. And I hate tourney fighting now. The only tourney fighting I do is the War Dancer tourney fighting. And the only reason I do that is if we don't have enough War Dancers of a particular rank, then the higher rank War Dancers can go fight the lower rank War Dancers. And depending on how well the lower ranked War Dancers kick our asses, like Uther does all the time on me, it helps them. It gives them more emphasis for getting promoted. Yeah, I see Doug. I see Vermeer's online. Another former War Dancer, buddy. Hey, this is
so here's the question. So if there was a bus accident and it was full of Dr. Pepper and Jatara, who would you save?
I don't know. That's Fight Club, buddy. Yeah. You're not in the company anymore. Yeah, you can't bring up Fight Club type questions. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'll say.
Oh no, I'll bring it up. Okay. This is ad hoc conversation. I'm a squirrel. I'll go after every squirrel out there. So, once someone has been a petitioner long enough, and we've decided to canvass the company and vote on whether we're going to bring a petitioner in or not, it's got to be unanimous. It's got to be, fairly overwhelming. We'll all question it. We'll build that petition and everything. Then someone is going to ask a silly question. And historically, that someone was asked. Skip was the answer way back then, and I don't know if you had. If he would ask this question about Dr. Pepper, these the Hyatt answers at the time, they love their Dr. Pepper, even though I've been a Diet Coke guy. I don't even drink that anymore. And he would ask a question just like Bromir was saying about if a bus was going over the cliff and you had the chance to save the Hyatt answers or that case of Dr. Pepper, what would you do? And depending on how you answered, could impact the ultimate decision on whether you get in the company or not. So there's a lot of funny traditions and everything with the award answers. Just like all battle companies are going to have their own idiosyncrasies and their own traditions and their own other company friends and allies and whatnot. And the word answers, yeah, we have our own. And thank you, Bromir, for bringing that up. I forgot all about that. What are some other things? Friends and allies. The Annihilus and the word answers are pretty tight. And I don't know why, but we always have been. They're our brothers. I mean, we'll fight. We love fighting together. We always camp. We try to camp side by side if possible. Definitely in Spring War.
It must be the lightning bolts.
Yeah.
Lightning Bolt Alley. At LaGrange, we were the Annihilus campsite and the word answer campsite is separated by that little alleyway between the campsites, and we call that Thunderbolt Alley. And the word answers the Annihilus. We had our own hidden back path. Between campsites and everything, because we take care of each other. Because to be honest, I mean, we're kind of like nice guys. I mean, I'm a nice guy. I like everybody, and which people make fun of because I seem to like everybody. And I'm not going to hold a company. I'm not going to hold a person's malfeasance or bad behavior against an entire company. Yeah. And we've always been like that, and that's why we've always been tied with the Annihilus guys. Not to say we don't love our our Saracen brothers and sisters and our Torch brothers and sisters and our Dark Rider brothers and sisters. We love them all. What were some other things we wanted to talk about on my non-written down agenda? I was going to put together PowerPoint slides. I was going to put together a big, huge briefing with slides and points and bullets, and that didn't happen.
Thank God. One of the things
I'm looking at Mr. Squint just shaking her head at the PowerPoint presentation. Because if you caught court, that was like 130 slide presentation.
Oh yeah, all the awards.
Oh my God, it was so many hours putting that together with the Monarch.
Yeah, and that was beautifully done. That was really beautifully done, because making PowerPoint presentations is not easy. People think, you can throw words on paper, but to make it really pretty and smoothly working, that was impressive.
You should have Ben's in.
I just love him. One of the things, people say, well, how do you become a word answer? It's easy. Yeah, to be one, you ask one. Sometimes we'll ask you. A lot of times you just become one because you're hanging out with a bunch of us, or one or two of us, and you come camp with us, and then it's like, is so-and-so a word answer? I don't know. Are they a word answer? No, they're not a word. Why aren't they a word answer?
Well, they're camping with their word answers all the time.
Because Tom and I kind of agree on this. The people I look for in my company are people that I am comfortable with.
Yeah.
On the field, off the field, in my home, outside my home. People that I generally like to hang around
I'm not
with.
wearing pants.
People I generally like to hang around with.
And now that is on YouTube for everyone to see.
Do we look for kick-ass fighters? Not necessarily. We look for kick-ass ANSers, not necessarily. Excuse my language. I just realized I do drop the bombs all the time. But anyway,
Ass.
yeah, there could be other.
It's all right. One of my session titles from Friday is called Badass Q&A. So we're
Okay.
good.
I
I just
always-
wanted to, sorry to interrupt, but Lavareth, I do have you muted. There was a lot of kind of background clatter that was causing issues. So if you want to talk, just let me know and I'll unmute you. Nothing personal, man. Just trying to keep it clear for Win and FT.
Yeah, I usually get in trouble with Dame Andrelane, Queen of the Amazons, because I drop the F-bomb and the other accompanying words a lot. So excuse my French, as they say. But anyway, getting back to becoming a ward answer, you don't have to be the best seamstress. You don't have to be the best sword maker. You don't have to be the best leather worker or the best double dagger or the best Pullman shield person. It's, are you the best that you want to be? Are you genuinely likable?
Yeah,
Do you want to make this game a better place for everybody? Do you want to have fun? You know, those are things, they're not really tangible in many ways. Sometimes you meet somebody a company member will meet someone and say, this person needs to be in the gray. I would like this person to be in the gray. And they'll bring them up.
Yeah.
And that's changed. It used to be like when Tom came in, Jatar just said, we want you in the gray. When I met Jatar, he asked Tom, why isn't she in the gray? Tom, I never thought about it, neither had I at the time. But and it's progressed, and each different area has a different way. Like in the CK, for the longest time, even now, just to a great extent, if you had your eye on someone, you brought it up to the company, and the company kind of discussed whether, and if it was a general consensus that we could see them hanging around our campfire and drinking with us at night or playing with us on the battle, then that person would be approached. And flip side, if someone approached one of us, and if we didn't know them very well, we would go back to the company and say, hey, so-and-so approached me, would like to join the gray. What do you guys think? Do you know this person? And that's why our petitioning process can be, anywhere from a day to a couple of 3 years. A lot of it depends on your location, how active you are, how active AmpGuard is where you live.
Usually right now most of our petitioners, we expect them to petition for a minimum of 1 year.
But that can be short.
Yeah, we could. The three high answers get together and say, oh no, they've been doing it for 10 months. Yeah, we're ready. Or it's like, oh, they've been doing it for 2 years. Well, they need to petition a little bit longer since we haven't seen anything out of them. And it's a case by case basis. As the high answers, we can change the rules, but we tend not to without getting company consensus. Because that's just the right thing to do. You don't want to piss off too many members of your company, because that's what makes the company. The companies, it's changed over the years, depending on leadership and how the leadership views the game and whatnot. At one time, it was all fighting. If you're not out there in the battlefield, then you shouldn't really be a war answer. And that changed to, well, support the fighting, because that's really what a battle company does. Battle companies out there are going to be supporting their customers, are going to be doing what they can on the battlefield for whatever that engagement or whatever that campaign is, but they can't do it alone. Me and Ben Lavareth, and Daniel Langston or Marcus Malmoria, we can go out there and fight, but we can't do it all by ourselves. On the battlefield, there's non-combat things that can happen, or non-melee type things. I mean, you got archers and healers and things like that too. But there's also support on the sideline. There's water bearers. There's Reeves. And this is a big one. There's those people that cannot fight for whatever reason, because physically they can't, or they just don't feel like it that day. There's everything else that's going on during an event that they will probably be involved with, be it helping prepare a feast, children events, childcrat things, zookeepers, security. So although you may not see all the ward answers on the battlefield, the ward answers are probably doing something at the event. And that's what in my opinion, makes a battle company. An organization, a full support organization that maybe only 20% of them or 50% of them or a certain percent of them are actually fighting on the battlefield. However, it's effective because you have all the other people that are doing everything else. Over. I say that over.
That's awesome. You had mentioned in there that the war dancers have a lot of non-fighting stuff. There's a lot of the service, the water bearers and the reeves and things.
Yep.
And it's getting better now. But when I started doing like really focusing on field hydration and not just table with water and occasionally someone to go, hey, drink something, kind of thing. It was a little bit of a fight. I remember a couple of autocrats and warcrats very early in the beginning when I'm like, do you have a budget for water? They'd look at me like,
it's so important.
So I think that those kinds of things, there is a fight. It's just not a physical fight.
I learned the importance of water bearers from SCA. I did SCA for like 8 years before I finally found Amtgard and realized I had more fun playing Amtgard. So I went full on Amtgard, and that was in like '93. So but in those games, water bearers are key to the fighting happening. And Amtgard's the same way, especially out of Lagrange. You're not in the middle of that big battlefield, and you're dying and you're sweating, and suddenly Claudia comes up with pickles or water, or one of her minions, one of the the hydration station's minions are sent out with drinks or something to keep you fighting, so you don't pass out, so you continue to have the game, so you continue to do what Amtgard is all about, which in my opinion is battle games, and role playing and having a good time out there. Everything else is just gravy, because I got an Amtgard to do battle games, because SCA was kind of boring. You'd meet once a week to do fighter practice, put on a bunch of armor, go beat each other up, and then you go home. Looking forward to, preparing for the big weekend events or the big monthly or yearly events. Amtgard, I came in Amtgard because I could go out there on the weekends and I could role play, and I could fight more than 1 or 2 people at a time. I could fight 30 and 40 people at a time, and I could go out there and be, be a vampire or a werewolf or play an elf or something like that. And in fact, when I first came, here we go. When I first came into Amtgard, I wanted to do that. I wanted to go out there and play some sort of monster class, because in the SCA, we didn't have that. So I went in there and I started down in El Paso playing Amtgard, and there was all these monster classes, and I'm going, wow, there's a lot of people playing monster classes. I wanted to play some sort of monster class, and there were vampires and dragon people and werewolves, and I'm going, well, fine. I don't want to be just like them. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play human. I'm only going to play human. I'm always only going to play human, to such a degree that I'm going to try to promote my human supremacy over everyone else.
Oh my goodness.
CRGP.
You want to know my history? I started a church within Amtgard called the Church of Genetic Purity, only for humans. And hence Father Thomas was born. That's why I'm FT. That's why you have Father Thomas, because it all goes back to the church. And if Bromir is still online, without offending anybody, he could probably give a little bit of the history of the church too. And also,
Story time.
And also, at the time in Amtgard, there was no, there were bad guys. There was like evil vampires and evil that, but there was no really evil organization. So hence, we needed an evil organization. And so we created the church, and they were really bad guys. And you wouldn't think so, because
We're
were
not
always
bad guys. What are you talking about?
and we were there to support those other races, those were people, those other less non-human individuals out there that would need our support, and the church would help them. But without, in today's era, we don't go into too much detail about that, because that was some evil shit back then.
The afflicted. We call them the afflicted.
I've never heard of the afflicted. That's okay.
Come
We
to the
had a few other people join the chat. I see a Thadagrin amongst others. So hello.
Howdy.
Hi. So we've got about 20 minutes left with our wonderful conversation with War Dancers, and Father Thomas has requested this be an open conversation. So feel free to turn on your video, unmute your mic when you have a question or comment. I've been trying to jump in now and then, but I'd love to hear from some others so that it doesn't feel like I'm monopolizing everything. Even some stories from Boromir.
Yeah, I'm working right now, so I'm probably not going to turn the camera on. But yeah, I'm just figuring I would listen to this in the background and maybe kill some time while I let logs run.
Are you at least wearing pants? I'm not.
I even have on a work appropriate shirt that says, "No, you're right. It's let's do it the dumbest way possible because it's easier for you."
I need that for a sign over my desk at work.
I mean,
tuning in now, we've been talking about the War Dance. We've talked about the Battle Company. We've been talking about our history and some of our tenets and guidelines. Some of the things that we don't really go into detail about that we don't really need to, but I mean, the whole War Dancer behind. You may have heard the term War Dancer behind because at the time, well, even now, War Dancers really shouldn't be sneaking up behind somebody and stabbing him in the back, especially if you're on the battlefield. Unless you're an assassin and that's your job, then I fully expect you to stab people and me in the back because it's my own fault if I wasn't watching my back. So if you ever hear the quote "War Dancer behind," it's because if you're in combat and if you want to go and kill that person, make it fair. Don't just go up and shank them unless that's your job as an assassin. Then I fully expect you to shank them without them knowing. In fact, up to me on the battlefield, just hit me once, I'm dead. I'm gonna take the death. I don't care how much armor I'm wearing because I know that if you were really an assassin, you could come up and put an ice pick in the back of my brain. So, but War Dancer behind was all about honoring your opponent, making it fair, allowing them to pick up their weapon, unless if they drop it, unless you specifically disarmed them. If your goal was to disarm them, don't let them pick the weapon back up. Just murdering them then.
Murder sounds like a better plan. You have a back too. It's also fair.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm trying to be the good guy. They keep giving me assassin stuff.
War Dancer behind, honor on the battlefield. That's something that we try to maintain in everything that we do. Is personal honor, company honor, kingdom honor, because we not only represent ourselves, our company, our park, but our kingdom. So bottom line, this is a game that we play to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get a shot in on you that you don't quite think is a death shot, but the other person obviously did, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter.
Take a death. Take a death.
Back in the day when you had per class, you might have only 4 lives for a battle game, or 6, or you could steal one if you're an AP. Now we have the life pool. So don't let something as small as a death get in the way of having the fun. Yeah. So it can be honorable to take a death that you don't think really was a death. Does it really matter?
Because we're all out there to have a good time on the battlefield. We're all out there to have a good time off the battlefield. Enjoy this game. It is a game with a lot of society behind it. Because we are all part of this Amtgard culture, this Amtgard family. And you don't want to piss off your family members. You want to go out there. You want to enjoy your time in the game in Amtgard. If not, why play? So try to go into the game and trying to go into the battle games with a light heart, with a high spirit, and with hopes to go out there and not only have a good time for yourself, but to show everybody else the good time. If you have to take a silly death, because some newbie shot you from a distance or got that strike in, then make sure that newbie appreciates and has a good time. Take that death, hit the ground, compliment that newbie on how well he just cut your throat. Because it's going to make them have a good time. It's going to make them return, and it's going to make them tell their friends to come out and play this game, which is all about fun and not only about
ego.
Well,
yeah,
your ego. Not my ego. Because my ego's important.
Both of you can stop on the ego part. You're gonna start tripping over each other.
Yeah, I'm gonna dig myself a big grave there.
He said both of us.
Speaking of taking a shot from a distance and hitting the ground with a flurby death, doesn't always work out perfectly.
Oh, not for you. How many
This
collarbones you
sounds
got
like
left?
a story time. Go take it away, Memoria.
Yeah, Marcus, tell us.
So I was at a spring war, and this is back
Oh shit,
when
there we
monsters had levels to them, and you get more abilities the higher level of the monster that you're playing. They had this um, battle game. They're like, well, if you look the
Sorry,
part,
someone's
if
making
you
their
will
statement
assign
before
you a
me, and
level
then I say
of
one of
monster
my
that
people.
you're playing. And so I decked
Oh yeah,
out as
FT and
Pascal.
Mr. Swin say hi, Mom and Dad. Hope you guys are doing well.
Anyway, I
Mom's met them.
Tell us
okay.
your story.
So yeah, so I dressed up as a basilisk. I had 4 horns. I had the decked out. And they're like, "Oh yeah, you're 6th level. Go out there." So I like 2 lives. I'm going out there. I'm having fun. I'm on my last life. This archer lines up on me, and I'm like, "Oh no, he's gonna kill me right now." So I started running from him. Hit me square in the back from across the field. I'm like, "Okay, this is my last life." I'm thinking as I'm hitting the ground, I'm like, "I'm just gonna play this out." So I sprawled out, just went straight down, broke my collarbone, shattered it. They took me to the hospital. The X-ray techs went, "Ooh, I've been doing this for 15, 20 years." Yeah, I don't remember exactly what. I was kind of doped up. I've never seen a bone this badly broken. And I like, and yeah,
Did they ask
I
how it
spent the rest-
happened? Did you tell them it
sorry?
was an arrow? Did
Yeah,
they
so
ask how you broke your collarbone? You said, "I got shot in the back with an arrow."
yeah, I did, and he just gave me this look. And we were having fun. I spent the rest of that event sitting in a fold-out chair, sleeping in a fold-out chair, getting awoken every morning by someone running around with an air horn, which hurt like hell. And then got
Oh,
into the last fight of the event, which people said I was crazy. I was up in a splint and running around. I actually have a picture somewhere of it. But yeah, I took that Flurby death and it was it was pretty good. It was pretty bad.
but it was spectacular. And
Oh,
that's the thing. And granted, we didn't know that you had seriously injured yourself. We just saw a really great death.
oh,
And
8 out
at
of
the time,
10.
the Reefs give you extra lives for
No, no,
well role played deaths.
oh yeah, no. The Reeve did come over to me, look down at me, and go, "That was great. You get all your lives back." And I'm like, "It ain't gonna matter."
Thanks.
Unless you got a heel in there for my collarbone. Yeah, because when we had life, didn't have life pools, but you had I mean, lives were few and far between. You go out there with only 4 lives per game, or 5 lives per game, or 6 lives per game, with limited resurrects. You played a defensive game. You did not want to die because you could, and even if you did die, you got to go wait, 5 minutes, 300 count before you could come back. It was a very, very defensive game. So when you did die, you made sure everybody knew it, and you role played that death. And that Reeve hopefully would see it and say, "Oh wow, that was awesome. You got an extra life this game." It was pretty big. So there was a lot more. I don't know, not role playing. There was a lot more. Look at me dying fantastically because I need an extra life because I'm on my last life. But are there any other questions about the company itself? And we could talk about war stories all the time. And I've got a zillion stories about different battle games or different events and everything. But what I want to ask you, AmpGuard, and you, YouTube, is what questions do you have to a couple of the leaders here within this battle company that you may have never asked, you may have not have thought to ask until today, till this morning. Go ahead, fire them out.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Mostly if someone was to rejoin, they were a part of y'all and then wanted to rejoin, would they regain their rank as when they left or no?
Depends on our mood, depends on the situation of them leaving. Were they kicked out? Did they leave amicably? Did they not really leave, but just kind of like left AmpGuard for 5 years or 10 years? It really depends. So it would be a case by case basis.
Like if you quit playing AmpGuard or you gradually drift off away from AmpGuard, you don't have to drop your tabard as far as we're concerned.
No.
It's kind of like, with a fraternity. Once a war dancer, always a war dancer, unless we yank your tabard. But if you go off into the sunset and spend 20 years of your life doing something else, and then you decide, hey, I'm going to come back into AmpGuard, and you still want to wear the gray, as far as we're concerned,
You're still a war
in the
dancer.
gray.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in the gray and you reach a point in your life where you think, I've enjoyed my time in the gray, but I want to seek greener pastures. I want to do something different.
I want to be a tiger.
I'm hanging more with this group of people than I am my own battle company. Maybe I should move on. And you do move on, and you do officially drop your tabard. And then you decide years later or whatever that, I want to go back home. I want to go back to the gray.
Home.
Yeah, we'll accept you.
But
It's
probably
rare
starting.
occasions that we've had people drop. Like we've had people drop that have dropped previously multiple times, and then the last time they picked up the tabard, they were told, if you drop it again, don't ask for it back because you keep dropping it.
Burn too many bridges.
Yeah. We've taken tabards from people for fairly serious things, and it's been at the time of taking that tabard, it's like you'll never get it back because what you did was unacceptable,
So egregious that
we don't think you could ever overcome it. And that's very rare. But for someone who decided, I'm moving on, I'm not going to wear the gray because I might pick up somebody else's tabard, and they decide to come back, then a lot of times that's going to depend on the current group of dancers that know the individual. How would they feel? Do they want this person to come back, slick sleeve with nothing, or was that person someone that they cared about and respected enough that I could still respect their old rank? And yeah, they deserve to come back into the gray at the level they were they left.
Yeah, I'd take Diego back in a heartbeat, but I'd make him dance for the way again. You'd have to start over.
So, it would be up to the individual, and it would be up to their circumstances of leaving, and it would be up to the group that they're coming back to. Because the group that we have today might not have been the group that was there when they left.
Yeah, good point.
It might be a group of people that don't even know this individual. They're like, who's that? They were what? And the group might decide no. And then again,
That was a good question, though. That was a really good question.
Yeah.
I think we've got time for one more question, one wonderful question just like that. Thank you, Bromir. Because we are about 6 minutes from our next session, and I think he was actually on the chat. So one more question, please.
Can we unmute those who have been muted for the last bit?
Clue, did you have a question?
Oh, I'm sorry, has my mic been on this whole time, or?
Oh, no.
Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't heard anything.
You have
so,
something, hey, Clue, you want to say? You got a question or anything?
Well, Father Thomas, I really enjoyed this thing. Of course, my air conditioning compressor's been out, so I've recorded it to listen to later. But what I did hear was very great, and it was really fascinating to find out more about the war dancers. I worked with Mezzy in the Emerald Hills, and she's been an awesome help there. So yeah, thanks for this panel, and really appreciate what you guys put together.
Well, thank you for thanking us.
Yeah. So y'all take care, okay?
Well,
Thank you.
Because I could show my face. Hey.
Hey.
there we go. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got a question real quick.
Sure.
But that's not to be true. My question's to Claudia. Hey, Claudia, what battle company are you part of right now?
I'm not part of I'm not part of a battle company officially. I am a proxy member of Smalls, just because my daughter is its captain, and so there needs to be some sort of adult supervision when you've got a bunch of littles roaming around. But yeah, so I'm active with them in terms of trying to help make sure that she's staying focused and the activities that she wants to get pushed out to her various members and lieutenants are going to be child friendly and safe. But I'm not.
Yeah, whatever. You'd make a good war dancer. Just saying.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've always thought that. Yeah. Thad, shit, I'd give one of my testicles or somebody else's
Hey,
testicles for Thad. Thad's got his own.
Can we unmute the server muted individuals? I can see Langston over there trying to wave us.
Oh. Daniel
Sure,
trying
okay.
to talk.
Yes.
He's conquistador on the. There we go.
Okay.
Can you
Should
guys hear
all
me?
the unmute should be done now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh,
I
talk.
just wanted to make one last quick statement. I just wanted to say what I
If you
do
want.
for the war dancers and stuff. What I do is when I come
can't
to
hear
any
you,
big
man.
event or oh crap.
Real quick, since I got a couple minutes left, if the people watching this video
All right, you guys hear me
know
now?
of people that you believe would be a good fit to the War Dancers, talk to them, talk to us. If you yourself are curious about the War Dancers, you want to talk about it more, then come to us. You can reach us, via Facebook or at events or email or whatever. Like I said, we always welcome everybody around the campfire. Try to have an open ear unless we're in the middle of something else at the moment, and don't feel put off, if we can't talk to you at that moment, because we will try.
I welcome private messages as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go to Malmoria. Yeah, Malmoria's a great spokesperson for the company. Great. He's always available, always online.
You
I
can
wish
find
Crispin.
him on Facebook. Right?
I wish Todd Crispin was here as well. Crispin got recently promoted for merit, and because he takes charge of stuff. He can't go out and fight all the time. He can't get his ANS in there. But man, the guy is a leader, and he's got so much great outreach that we recognized it and we promoted him for it. But anything else? I know Claudia's about ready to kick us all off.
Yeah, I'm showing Conquistador. Langston is trying to talk. I can see his mic activating, but I think that he's on mobile device, and with mobile device to get Discord to pick up that either a headset so that it can grab the mic, or you have to find some way to turn it onto speaker. So I can see his mic working. I'm looking at my soundboard right now, and I can see it triggering and activating. And so I know he's tried really hard, but we can't hear him, and I feel so bad. Because
You know how tempting it is right now just to toggle my mic off and on and off and on and off and on?
I saw you doing that.
I get the server admin. She's probably still asleep, but I think I can wake her up to kick you. Okay, so we'll go ahead and Langston, we do want to hear from you, buddy. So we're out of time this morning, but hopefully maybe another time we can get your mic situation figured out and we can have a sit down with you and see how you doing and stuff. Thank you so much, Father Thomas and Mr. Swin and all the other War Dancers that showed up this morning, early on a Sunday morning, late morning, early afternoon. What time is it again?
It's time for a break. What time it is?
Yeah, it's time for more coffee.
You got less than a minute until noon.
Okay, so it's still morning.
No,
Up next, we have Iris Darkflame. There is. So Iris will be leading us through how to sight read. That's coming up next. If you're watching this on the stream in YouTube, give us a couple minutes. The stream is going to stop. The stream is going to drop. And then it'll come back with Iris.
Thank
you
you
again so much
for tuning in.
Yes, thank you guys.
You do not have to subscribe.
You know, fire.